Okay, we're back. I went and checked to make sure that uh, the audio wasn't too messed up. I'm gonna just turn it down a tad bit more. There we go. Okay, I should be recording. And gonna make sure I know what time I've started recording so I don't go over. I'll try to make these between a half an hour to an hour long each, depending on where I think a good place to stop is. You know, or if I have to stop otherwise. But, yeah, so we're back. I'm going to go ahead, I forgot to do this, but we should go ahead and dump that for where we're going with this. We're going to get the fox first. Because the fox gives 5 for a complete constellation bonus, and then we're going for the ghoul. Now, the thing is, I don't want to go for the bat, because even though it would give us 2 chaos, we want to go for the Hydra as soon as possible if we are going to go for ranged. Which, since we're playing on veteran, I definitely want to. Here, let me stop putzing around with the... So, two-handed... Oh, maybe that doesn't... Maybe I have to put 2... Yeah, okay, I needed to use the hyphen. Two-handed melee or ranged weapon, huh? The Kraken. Oh. I didn't know this thing existed. Plus 70% to all damage. Okay, so the... Yeah, like, okay. And that's the only one that's two-handed. Oh. That's wild. That's the only two-handed. That feels criminal. That really feels like that there should be more than that, but whoa. Melee. Requires a sword. Okay, so I guess the melee is separated into the type, huh? Well, then let me put requires. Okay. A scepter, dagger, or caster offhand. And by the way, when they say caster offhand, what they really mean is like a skull or a book or whatever. An axe or a spear. Plus 50% physical and bleeding, huh? Plus 25% health regeneration. No, not 25%. Plus 25 health regenerated a second. And then that bleeding damage increase. Requires a mate. Okay. Oh, why did I do that? Come on. Requires a mace, huh? That's the internal trauma damage is interesting. But that's going deep into some stuff that I just don't think. Requires a shield. The Kraken is looking so good. So, regenerate. Energy regeneration, yeah, not really interested. Plus 16 health regenerated a second. Plus 8, so that's plus 24 total over there. It's energy regeneration. Flat health regeneration is not that good. Plus 50 health regenerated per second. Okay, that's a little bit different. I'm not sure if the percentages from regeneration percentage increases apply to these. But we're gonna need... If we're gonna go get the Kraken, we're gonna get the Kraken. We're gonna get the Kraken. We need 5 order. So we need something in order that's worth it, that applies to our build. Right? Oh, that, by the way, you can highlight, like, each one and it'll tell you, like, where they're at in the chart. They all sort of have a main region, if you'll notice. So, like, it goes, you know, order, I meant primordial. Wow. Primordial. So it goes, like, primordial, order, and then eldritch, and then chaos, right? And then ascendant. The Huntress is cool, but if I remember right, she's more like, damage. We're looking for survivability. Now here's the thing, this gives 3 order. Let's look to see if there's any order stuff that gives stuff that we might actually want. The lizard. I mean, we could just go with the lizard and that would give us what we need for the Kraken. I guess maybe that's the plan. I'm not really sure if there's anything, so let's look. So the complete constellation bonus is exactly what it sounds like. Like, you get that as part of completing that constellation. That affinity. But I don't think there's... Yeah. Affinity requirements. I don't think there's anything that we're going to be able to grab that's going to be giving us enough, like, incidental primordial essence. The Wendigo, huh? Yeah, we're not going to be doing vitality. Maybe we are. You know, this is kind of why I'm just going to stick to, for now, the fox. Right? Because we're, but, spoiler alert, there's not that many of those points in the game. The devotion system has... It doesn't have that many points. It's you get a lot of good powerful stuff from it depending on how you build it. I feel like they could have added maybe 4 or 5 more spread throughout the mid game in normal. And there's a few shrines that you can only unlock on the harder difficulties, like the higher difficulties. There's stuff just in general that you can only get to on the higher difficulties, but yeah, you know.
That skill's not ready.
And I'm sorry if it feels like I spend way too long looking at that, but I mean, personally, whenever I'm watching like a Let's Play or something, you know, or just gameplay playthroughs like this one, I guess technically you could call any gameplay like playthroughs that are commentated a Let's Play, but you know, whatever. You know, I like it whenever people like actually sit down and talk about how they're going to build their character and why in games like this. So, you know. Also, by the way, these guys do a lot of damage. That wasn't obvious. On Veteran, at least they do. But they give a lot of XP too, so shrug, I guess. I'm pretty sure we'll be going for the ranged weapon plan. I want to go for the melee weapon plan, but again, we're playing on Veteran, and I'm just going with the one button plan, so I'm not really sure I want to be getting up close and personal with anybody. Oh, it's this guy! Crud, I have to remember that he's here and leave him, I think. I'm not sure if it counts if I kill him now.
That skill's not ready.
Where's this at? Okay. He's gonna follow me to the ends of the earth, though, is the problem. I kinda wanna just clear the area, but I don't think he's gonna let me just do that. I hope he doesn't. I hope he just. I hope he's leashed to the area that. You know, like he'll just walk back to where he's supposed to be at, and he'll leave me alone. Because that's the guy, Pharos, that I always miss in a certain quest, and I think it's because I kill him before the quest activates. So let's avoid that, hopefully. Just plink away at our poor, unfortunate, zombified citizens of whatever this country's called, I forget. I know this land has a name. Right, like, but I forget what the canonical name for this region is. Cairn, that's it. Yeah. It's right on the map. Duh. Just checking real quick to see if we got any armor. Yeah, we need just armor right now. We just flat need armor. Period. If we can get any kind of extra armor. And as you see, that automatically equipped the cap. Because we didn't have a cap. So it just equipped it. I think that's kind of nifty. That's never really, you're never really in a situation other than the very beginning of the game where that matters, but it's still nifty that they did that. Wow, they're firing those off from a distance. A frightening distance. Now, ooh, this is gonna get kind of ugly with all the mobs. This is where the game starts throwing mobs at you that can kind of keep up with you, you know, where kiting them around becomes very tactically pertinent. This guy doesn't do that much damage, though. I mean, 3 of them will, right? But 1 of them by themselves doesn't. Yeah, where was Pharos? I need to remember that he's right there. I'll try to remember that he's right there. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I'm a bit of an old hand at making these videos, like gameplay commentary videos. I just privated all the previous ones because I used to cuss a lot, and I've worked on that. I don't do it now, which I'm very happy to say. Like, I'm legitimately happy to say that. Had a bit of Diet Coke there. But I'm used to doing multi-hour recording sessions. Ooh, goodness, that's the wrong. I came to the wrong neighborhood. we're gonna skip all areas like that for now. Oof. Okay. I knew that was a bad idea. I just didn't realize it was that bad of an idea. Goodness gracious.
We can't do that yet.
Yeah, you know, I used to cuss a lot, and that was kind of not just embarrassing for obvious reasons. But you know, I'm a Christian, and I shouldn't be talking like that, especially in public-facing media, media output. So I try now my darndest to not cuss, but I've had a problem with using profanity all my life, so it may happen sometime. And if it does, I won't blurt it out or anything. Like, you know, I won't bleep it out or edit it, mainly because I'm not really great at editing. But, you know, I say all that again just to preface that I'm used to doing long recording sessions where I just yammer on about whatever's going on in the game, and occasionally talk about stuff that isn't directly the game. But, you know, there's typically a lot to talk about in the games that I like, from Elden Ring to this game. Whether it's something going on screen like right now, where I'm having the critical problem of dealing with these, I forgot what their actual name is. This is a deep mire warrior, but the species name is like Slith. Something like that. Snake Man. The real crazy thing is that in one of the quest lines, it's basically said that those guys are the result of a magical experiment by a mad wizard, basically. These slith things. That right there's a giant mosquito. It's exactly what it looks like. Annoying, hideous, and abominable. These rift towns are rift spawn. If we'll get a good look at them, they're not just dogs. You see, like, I don't think you can really walk in this game, but like, yeah, that's not like just a dog. You know, it may look like a dog, kinda, from a distance, from our helicopter view, but that's no dog. So all the different, so you see how it says insectoid, and then I like to think that's mostly for flavor, you know, like rift spawn, insectoid, whatever, but these things actually do, if you look over here at factions, all of these things actually do respond to some kind of faction or another, and we'll be getting into the faction relations for places like Devil's Crossing later, because there is actually a good reason to do that stuff. For the factions you can actually do anything against. Now the thing here is that you get negative faction bonuses, if you want to call them that, for the enemy factions. So as you can see here, you kill enough of them and get enough negative, like basically notoriety, you get extra spawns, and then additional hero spawns, and then at the very end, nemesis spawns, which are bad. We'll probably see what that's like by the end of this playthrough. Maybe not, I don't know. But you can read right there the basically the description of what ethereals are. So, foolishly and greedily did the arcanists of Cairn delve into the magical veil known as the Aether, never once suspecting that something was looking back. The ethereals descended upon Cairn in what is now known as the Grim Dawn, possessing countless humans and butchering the rest. Most despicably of all, they began raising the fallen as mutated undead creatures, mindless foot soldiers for their invasion. Their very presence on Cairn is enough to mutate the wildlife, turning once docile creatures into vicious monstrosities. But most strange of all is their apparent hatred for Chthonians, as they will battle against the horrors from the void at every opportunity. Now, we haven't seen the Chthonians yet, so I'm not going to look at their page. But we've seen beasts, and sure enough, creatures of fur and claw, of scale and venom, of carapace and spine. They are all a part of Cairn, and through one of the most brutal laws of nature, survival of the fittest, they become stronger with each generation. Whether through the forces of nature or the ignorant machinations of mankind, the beasts of Cairn will endure, become stronger, fiercer, and bolder. You know, and then we look at Devil's Crossing, which is survivors. There's the word most often used to describe the hardy denizens of Devil's Crossing, the men and women who made it through the grim dawn to form a small community within the ruins of an abandoned prison. They have seen all too many friends and family lost to the Taken, those found possessed by the ethereals. Earning their trust will prove no easy task, but with supplies running low and a looming ethereal threat on the horizon, they may just be willing to take a chance. So yeah, just wanted to read all that out, in case you're just listening instead of watching the video, whoever may be viewing this. But that's our factions for now. That'll get updated later. But as you can see, the little thing under, you know, how that says Rift Town, and then under it says Rift Spawn, that's the faction, like the species or whatever thingy. Now the thing is, it's not entirely always clear like which faction something belongs to. Like, does the Rift spawn belong to the Ethereals or the Beasts? I would have to go look at the wiki for that, right? I don't know. I mean, the insectoids presumably belong to the Beast faction, right? There's another reason I'm saying that, but we haven't come across them and won't for a while. There's a problem that we'll have to be solving on a large scale that involves bugs later on. So, like I said, I'm clearing out the map for the obvious reasons, like getting XP and stuff, but one thing is that we're trying to get this scrap. We need to get scrap. A good chunk of it too. Not a small amount. Oh, there's Ferris? Yeah, Ferris. I thought his name was Pharaoh for a minute, like, is that an iron reference? Yeah, the reason why that would make sense is because, I thought you could look at it. Sorry. I thought you could hover over this. This is iron, if I'm not mistaken. And that's like a big part of the theme of Grim Dawn is iron as a currency or whatever. Kind of having some respiratory issues. Sorry about that. I promise I'll get the mute button hotkey set up here in a bit. But as you can see, this is a thing that occurs in the game where you have enemies that just run up on you at a pretty high speed sometimes. Now the thing is that you would think that with a 10% XP bonus that you level up faster, but that's not quite the case because it takes so much longer to kill the enemies. So while you're getting more per enemy, you're not really leveling up faster, per se. Because it takes so much to kill each individual enemy. Oh, I guess I completely forgot to do a level up earlier, huh? Now, we'll be getting this, but I want to build towards fighting form because, so that +2 target maximum is for, yeah, the additional nearby targets. That's so that you can use a melee weapon and attack. Again, it gives you cleave, right? And then up here gives you +2 target maximum. It gives you like another chance for cleave, right? Like chance for extra cleave, I guess. Maybe. I guess it depends on which 2 targets it selects, because these are separate procs, I think. But the point is that that's cleave for melee. I'm using Vermintide terminology, but hopefully you get what I mean. And I know it's not just Vermintide, but that's probably the most famous game, at least that I can think of, the most famous recent video game that has cleave as a mechanic. We're just gonna keep plucking our way through the marsh.
That skill's not ready.
Hold on. Okay, that's kind of curious that these guys don't do that much damage to my guy. Now again, we're not really doing all that much damage for a number of reasons, but our damage rate, like our DPS, is going to kick up quite drastically soon. Because whenever we unlock the second class, we'll be able to get into you know, another avenue for our one-button
That skill's not ready.
man playthrough of doing more damage on our one-button skill. These guys are doing a lot less damage than I thought they would. You know, I'm kind of wondering if that might have a little bit something to do with the attributes we got. By the way, whenever you play this game, this is a common sight, even if you are playing as a ranged character, to have just a bunch of guys chewing on your head. Just nibbling on your arms and elbows and knees. Hitting you on the shoulders. Because, you know, it makes sense. You don't want the enemies to be incapable of reaching the player, right? That's a little silly. But there's a lot of very fast enemies in this game. So right here, required cunning 96. We're at 95, so we'll be able to use it next level. So it's not that bad. I mean, we could use an attribute point to make sure that we get there, but there's not really any reason to, right? We're just gonna let our constitution take up most of the healing duty here. Mainly because I don't want to be left without a potion usage in case I run into a nasty encounter somehow. That usually doesn't happen too often on the overworld. That's normally something that happens whenever you like enter a dungeon. But, you know. Now these guys are doing some pretty decent damage, all things told. But there's a lot less of them now, so and we got our potion use back. Alright. Slith. I think that is it, Slith. The name of the snake guys. Like their species or whatever. Now as you can see, ranged enemies can, just like what we're doing, hit from across the screen. I mean, you've probably noticed it by now. We've been encountering it a lot, but the reason why I'm pointing it out here is that there's more ranged enemies than you might think for how early in the game we are. Like, and ones that do pretty good damage. Now again, I want to emphasize we're on veteran. Like, these enemies wouldn't be doing nearly as much damage on normal, difficult, like non-veteran normal. Speaking of, this is going to be a bit harrowing. Oof. This is a different cave than the one I thought I was going to be entering, but I'm fine with it. Here we've got human enemies. The main thing to remember about them is that they can have some serious...
That skill's not ready.
Serious abilities, like humanoid enemies, that will mess you up. As you can see, these guys do good damage, unlike us. Again, I promise that we're not going to be plinking away at everything with, like, minuscule damage per hit. Forever.
I can't do that yet.
Now, as you can see here, you can bait them into attacking and then move. Like micro, basically. It feels a bit silly saying micro in a, you know, single unit
I can't do that yet.
ARPG like this, but, you know. And I'm well aware that I say you know a lot. Think of it as my version of or But there's some humanoid enemies in this game, to continue where I was talking, that are very frightening. You don't, even on normal, like, and I'm gonna keep saying that, like non-veteran normal. Did I just drop that? Yes, I did. Anyway, that was a ton of XP. Goodness. As you can see, these aren't nice people, so don't feel bad for them. There's not a whole lot of nice people, actually, in the era that took place after the Grim Dawn. And that's one thing to state, is that this game has that weird local time issue, if you know what I mean, where Devil's Crossing never really... time is never really advanced in Devil's Crossing until certain events happen. Anyway, we'll talk to this fella. He asks us to stay our weapon because they're not outlaws. They were captured and put to work here in the mine, and he hopes that we're here to free them. And our guy asks if they're slaves. Now, this guy is a member of the Rovers faction, as you'll see. We'll check them out in a minute. And he says it would seem, so it would seem, and nothing is worse to a rover than being confined. They're part of a rover band that set up a camp in a secluded part of Whitemire, hoping to avoid trouble, but trouble found them anyway. The bandits captured 4 of them, but someone named Young Larkin and 2 other men who were here already died from overwork. They just left their bodies down here with them. Apparently, rovers follow the path of peace, but he can't help thinking the world is a better place since I sent those outlaws to meet their judgment. We could tell them that we can get them to Devil's Crossing using a rift gate. But he says that he thanks us for our kind offer, but they would rather return to their people out in the swamps, and that's their path, which is fine. Nice! We gotta level up for that. And by the way, it says on the top left, reputation gained. That's probably more important, is that we got rover reputation for that. He says that we're always welcome with the rovers, basically, which is totally cool. It's good. What's really good is that we got another level up. And now we can get fighting form. Which, yeah. 74 bleeding damage over 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's for every hit. The other thing is that passing through enemies, that's a big deal. That we're going to have penetration on our weapons of the ranged variety.
I can't do that yet.
Means that we will now be able to, instead of plinking away at just one guy in the front, we might actually be able to occasionally reach out all the way through the stack of bodies in front of us trying to kill us. I deeply apologize for anyone with motion sickness who was discomforted by me pressing the reset viewpoint button. Ah, we're level 8 now. Hold on. Well, I say hold on like they're gonna wait. Press Y on that so that we can get our new crossbow out. There we go. That's doing a noticeable amount more damage. That's good. Excellent. Excellent. Now let's actually look at the difference. Now on the... Now look at that. Ring of Steel, 30% chance when hit. That's when we're hit, not when we hit. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of phantasmal blades encircle you at lethal speed, cutting down adjacent foes. Nice. The damage per second, if equipped thing, is not always strictly accurate, but it is... I want to say 90% of the time it's accurate. There's certain situations where it's not actually accurate, but it usually is. So, you know, this was a maybe not significant upgrade, but a worthwhile upgrade. Like a pretty mid upgrade. From 19 to 35 to 26 to 47. That's not bad, you know. I mean, the minus 44 damage per second. I'm not sure how it's calculating that, but I don't think it's that drastic. But still, it's not the worst yardstick. Just go ahead and pop our potion there. Yeah, Slith. There we go, yeah. That was a Slith necklace that we just picked up. That's why I said that. Go ahead and pop our potion again to save some of our constitution. Now, you know, it just hit me. Yeah, okay, that is cunning to equip that. Now, one thing to consider, if we look at the map, we kind of skipped over a little bit of the area. Now, for a long minute now, we're supposed to return to Captain John Bourbon. It's curious that he's named Bourbon, because I'm pretty sure the name Bourbon for the liquor is related to some kind of in real life thing. But, you know, whatever. It would kind of be like meeting a guy named, Johnny Walker, you know, like, hold on. Right? It's like, hold on. I mean, also, I guess it's weird that his name is John, being a biblical name, but, you know, I guess, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure, because, I mean, John in John was named John, so I'm not really sure if I can even call that a biblical name. In the sense that, like, it came from the Bible. Like, it is obviously a biblical name, but you hopefully get what I mean. But, now I'm just, like, thinking of, you know, it's like if you met a guy named Tequila in a fantasy setting, like, hold on, what? Hold on.
The dead attacks have slowed and their numbers are thinning. I take that as a sign that you've dealt with the source?
I have killed the reanimator.
A creature was doing this? Disturbing. Thanks to your efforts, we may yet hold out here a little longer. I've sent word to the gate guard. Speak to him and he should let you in. Take some well-deserved time to rest and recover. Welcome to Devil's Crossing.
You know, okay, I'm gonna say something. You might want to say that the voice acting isn't great. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's the best, but hear me out. Have you ever considered that maybe you can almost consider that maybe it's like an accent thing? Right? Like, and I don't mean on the voice actor's behalf. I mean like that maybe people just talk that way in the land of Cairn, right? That maybe that's how they do their inflections and stuff. I'm not saying that's the case. I know that it's you know, I'm not saying the voice acting's bad. I'm just saying that it's not the greatest. I'm just also saying that, you know, you could use an in-universe explanation to be like, well, that's just how they do their inflections.
We need some time to plan our strategy. In the meantime, there are others around Devil's Crossing who could use your help. Take a moment to mingle with your fellow survivors. Kasparov, our resident scientist, is really eager to speak with you. He babbled some nonsense, but I believe he wants to talk about your connection with the ethereals. Barnabas, our handyman, said he needed help with our water pump. When you're done assisting him, speak with me in my office.
It's funny. It's funny that I only just noticed. Speaking of biblical names, Barnabas, huh? All right. Okay. That's a little. That's that'll make a guy cock an eyebrow. Barnabas. That's a little odd.
Welcome to my workshop. I saw you fighting the dead out in Lower Crossing, and I dare say you were absolutely brilliant. Evidently, cutting you off that noose was the best decision the captain made that day. Ah, Where are my manners? I'm Kasparov, scientist and inventor. What brings you to my humble shop?
The captain said you wanted to speak with me?
Rift gates, yes. The ethereals use them to get around. I was working on a way to close them, but then you stumbled through ours. We have never seen a human, possessed or otherwise, pass through one before. Not a living one, anyway. It was then that I realized that we could put these portals to use. There's something about you that is attuned to the rift gates, and I intend to replicate it.
Wait, what?
You don't remember anything, do you? I may have taken some liberties while you were out cold. It was just a few tests, a blood sample or two, nothing major. The results were curious. It appears that your body is still teeming with residual aether energies. Don't worry, you won't be growing any new limbs, probably. But I'm going on tangents here.
I don't know why.
I believe that with a correctly tuned pulse of aether energy, we can replicate this phenomenon in a controlled manner, as in without the need for pesky possession. I've been working on just the device to do it, but it needs power. For that, I require aether crystal fragments.
Aether crystals like these?
Excellent. These will do perfectly. I'll just place them into my device here, and... Oh my, that's not right. Not at all. That pulse, it wasn't supposed to go off. Oh dear. 1, 2, 3... Yes, my fingers are still intact. Did it reach you too? How do you feel?
Well, my guy feels stronger.
Ah, very good. I'm sure a little more aether in your system won't do you the slightest harm. Okay, maybe it was a lot more. But you look fine. Fitter than ever. A real shame about the prototype. Showed such...
Yeah, I think we're
I've
done
been
here.
so preoccupied with this Riftgate business that I completely forgot about my apprentice, Starlet. I sent her out to the Burwich Estates to fetch parts for our research, and she's been gone entirely too long. Seems her ineptitude carries beyond just the workstation.
I like that the conversation option here is just, you lost your apprentice?
I have to say, I do feel a little responsible for her now that she's my apprentice. Could you please go out there and find that hopeless girl?
We certainly will. You know, quests and all that. Well, we got a free skill point there. Let's slap that right into Zolhan's technique. Now, reminder, that's 12% chance to be used. On top of another 12% chance to be used skill, like auto activate skill. So we're not doing too bad. Captain said we're good to go. And then we get it. Well, it looks like a lot more XP than just 100. This is the guy that we rescued earlier. He says he wants to thank us. And then we get 500 iron, plus 50 Devil's Crossing rep, and some scrap. The scrap is probably the best part of that, not gonna kid you. She's asking us to keep an eye out for her brother, Milton Hart. Yeah, we'll find him, take his amulet and all that. The one thing that we should try to do here, I'm not sure if I can talk to the guy yet. Yes. He hears we've been cleaning up out there at Lower Crossing, and if he wants, he says if we're going to keep fighting the monsters, that we'll need better equipment than what we've got. And he says that here's something that we'll likely never see again, something for nothing. And, well, basically the monsters killed his family, and he just wants revenge. And now he wants us to kill Pharos, Julius, and Negan. Now, this quest is annoying because it will stay up over there and take up space on your active quests thing for a long time, and it's easy to miss Pharos, Julius, and Negan. They're all kind of easy to miss in a little way. Hold on. Okay, I was gonna say that's not good. Now I'm trying to remember where exactly. I think he's past the next rift gate. I want to say he is. I want to say he is. For now, the main thing that we want to do is sell all of our junk. We don't need, like, any of this. We're so early in the game that, like, we're sort of dealing with junk.
Put it to good use.
I don't know how better to put it. We're just kind of just dealing with junk. There's not really... We're not going to be getting much stuff worthy of note for a while. And... Oh, I didn't want to do that.
I'll keep an eye on this.
Let's, auto sort.
That skill's not ready.
Okay, we have the scrap to help Barnabas with the water pump.
The captain send you over? You must have done quite a service with the dead if he's got hands to spare for old Barnabas. Let's get to business, yeah? Our wind pump's broken down again and we're running low on water. We're all out of parts, so I can't fix her up. Can always melt down what weapons we have, but I'm not too fond of being devoured in my sleep. I'll need scrap from Lower Crossing.
This enough scrap?
Impressive. We hadn't had much luck scavenging for supplies on account of the dead swarming Lower Crossing. You seem to handle them well enough, though. I'll get the wind pump up and running in no time. Devil's Crossing will have safe drinking water again, and well, good news is, I got the water pumping again. The only problem is, it smells like a sewer. Only about a tenfold worse. I haven't smelled something this rotten since I've cleared out a den of slith ages ago. They're loathsome reptiles, make their homes in swamps and dank caves. They secrete a nasty poison into the water that makes it drinkable for them, but nearly always fatal to us. I bet good iron there's a nest in that cave that fuels our pump. I'm too old for all this spelunking, so I need you to go down there and kill it. This key will open the cellar in the shack behind me, right by that accursed rift gate. It connects to the bowels of the prison, which should lead you to the cave. Find the slith matriarch that's likely polluting our water supply, and the poison should clear out on its own. You do this, and all the Devil's Crossing will be honoring your name with every glass.
Yeah. Now, the problem with this... I'm gonna cut the video again soon, but... Let me just tell you something. The problem with this is, if I'm not mistaken, we're level 8, and you've seen how much trouble we're having as it is. Now... Okay, the things down here are not... they're not that much higher of a level. I've come down here and had them at, like, level 10 before. I guess that might have had something to do with, maybe leaving and coming back to the game or something. The thing is, everything stays dead until you exit the session and come back, and then everything gets readjusted. Hold on. Ah, my ear. Sorry, folks. That's going to happen from time to time. But whenever you go to exit to main menu or quit the desktop, whenever you come back, everything gets readjusted for level, and everything respawns. Now, the thing is, as far as I know, whenever you're in a session, everything's level is, as far as I'm aware, everything's level is, like, set. So, if you, say, go to one region and, it's level 20, and then you go to a different region that's a higher level, you can beat that higher level region and come back, and everything there will still be level 20, that kind of thing. Ah, my freaking ear. What the heck is that? Ugh. I wish I knew why sometimes my ear just feels awful like that, like something's trying to get in it. But, it's just a thing that happens. I don't know why. But yeah, this still isn't going to be easy, necessarily. It's going to be a lot better because we've got a ranged weapon, but it's not going to be easy by any means. Mainly the part with the Slith Matriarch. Because he's not kidding about there being a den of Slith. Now, the interesting thing is that we've got a lot of crud to go through that is decidedly not big, green, scaly, and mean. As you can see, it's just some dead, some zombies, and some porcupines squirrels. Squirrel pines. Porcu-squirrels. Spiders. So you can kind of take advantage of height and shoot over stuff sometimes. Not here directly though. Yeah, you know, it's not always clear like what railings you can shoot over or not. But as you can see, it worked there. Now the reason why they can't get to us is because we haven't busted this door down, got the stuff that's in between us and them knocked over yet. The pathfinding in this game is typically not bad for the enemies. So if enemies can't get to you like that, it's probably because the way is like physically blocked to get to you. And again, my other ear's getting itchy. Sorry. But it's not always a workable tactic, as you can see. Like, a lot of higher up places have railings and such, so you're usually better off just going down and confronting stuff directly. Plus, since every class has the dodge button, you don't really have to worry too much about anything you go up against. I did not forget about our level up, by the way. Now, notice in the top left that, like, this stuff didn't pause, you know, kind of demonstrating that. I didn't mean to demonstrate that. I was hoping I could just level up in peace, but... Now, here's Veterancy. That is a really good skill, but it's not going to help us with what we need right now, which is damage. I want to level up Fighting Form to where we have a 60% chance for it to move through enemies and 224 bleeding over 2 seconds. The reasoning being is that we're going to be getting upgrades to bleeding damage soon via the devotion menu, but also because I want to have a greater chance at having our bullets go through enemies. That right there, if you noticed it, was our the 30% chance on hit thing activating. Now, one thing to remember, I'm not sure how the bleed damage is calculated. I'm not sure if everything takes bleed damage equally. I feel it's been a very long time since I read the wiki, folks. So if I get stuff wrong, don't, you know, harangue me over it. But I want to, and again, that was another activation of this. The Ring of Steel. But I want to say that stuff like internal damage, internal trauma, which is just another form of bleed, basically, and bleed don't always do the flat amount of damage. Like, things can be resistant to it. In fact, I want to say that, yeah, resistance to bleeding induced by lacerations and spells that deal bleed damage. I said lacerations weird there, but whatever. So yeah, like, I want to say that that reduces the amount of damage done. It's not like Dark Souls where it's like, oh, you know, you have a resistance bar, and then when that fills, it's not like that. It's just damage. Damage and resistance to damage. I want to say that that's how that works. Again, I could be wrong. I don't think I am on that. Pepper box gun. Now, we're going for two-handed guns. Two-handed ranged weapons. So, we're not going to be doing the dual-wielding thing. Plus, you can only dual-wield guns with the Inquisitor. So, and since that's the DLC class that I'm not using because it's a DLC class, we're not going to be seeing that. But he does allow you to dual-wield guns, and it's pretty cool. Though pistol and shield is pretty dope too. Just saying. Like, you could totally do a one-handed ranged weapon playthrough with a shield. Or a magic offhand. That's true too. You could. It doesn't have to be a shield, but you can. I've done the shield soldier thing. The shield gun soldier build. Speaking of, looking at this. Now, field command itself doesn't look that good. And it's not. But you don't get field command for field command. You get field command for squad tactics, which is stupid whenever you start upgrading it. Just flat attack speed buffs. That's... Look, I'm gonna level with you. The way we're going to be doing a lot of damage isn't just the amount of damage per shot, but the fact that we can upgrade our attack speed to pretty good levels. Ah, that is a giant spider. That is a level 10 giant spider, and I am paralyzed. Oh goodness. Ah, that's the first death. Death is not the end. Yeah, you lose experience, you can recover some of it by getting your bloodstain. That's right. Okay, well, it's been an hour, I think, so we're going to pause it here. 1 sec.